Well, Maha Salute, Broncos Country. What is going on, everybody? Hope you guys are having a wonderful Saturday. We are almost 24 hours away from the Broncos taking on the Panthers here at home. Broncos looking to get their fifth win of the season, man. This team was predicted to win 5.5 games, was the over-under set by Vegas. We're looking at making that five this weekend, and we'll talk about what the team needs to do to ensure a game that they should absolutely win here at home against the Panthers in week 8. Before we dive in, guys, if it's your first time on the channel, first time watching one of my videos, welcome. If you love Denver sports, all things from the Broncos to the Nuggets to the Avalanche, hit that subscribe button, like the video for the algorithm. I appreciate you guys very much in advance. All right, let's get into it, guys. So in a way, as a Bronco fan, I kind of hate these games when your team goes in as a very heavy favorite. And then the team that they're playing against also is very injured in addition to that. Very similar to last week with the Saints, kind of what happened. Because it just makes you, as a fan, have that mindset of like, this should be an easy win. And you don't want the Broncos to kind of fall into some sort of a trap game, which you never know. These kinds of things can happen. You're still playing against professional football players. This is a team that's still desperate for wins. And so you gotta be able to maintain that focus, and what makes me even a little bit more worried about it is maybe the team can be looking ahead, right? Because next week you go to Baltimore, and the week after that you go to Kansas City. So that's really when not just I would say the season starts, but that's a really legitimate measuring stick of like where this team fits in terms of um, the elite teams in the AFC. That being said, this is absolutely a game that the Broncos should win handedly. Being at home, coming off of a mini bye against a team that is without their top two wide receivers and Adam Thielen and Deontay Johnson, is without their you know new starting quarterback. I guess Andy Dalton, their preseason starting quarterback, is back with Bryce Young, and they've just got a lot of guys out. But even if that wasn't the case, the Broncos are a more talented and more complete team overall. So this is just one of those other games where we need to come in, make sure we control the clock, control the game, similarly to how we did versus New Orleans. A lot of people are saying this should be a breakout game for Bo Nix. And on paper, yes, that's true. But I don't necessarily think that hoping for a breakout game or the Broncos trying to game plan this breakout game for Bo Nix is going to bode them well in terms of winning this game. This is a game that you should go into and just say, we want to come out with a win. We want to come out of it as healthy as possible. And we need to do things to ensure that we're not giving a team that we should be beating any kind of life by making stupid turnovers, making overly aggressive plays. Those are things that you do against opponents that you feel like have an advantage over you to try to find that advantage, back over them. It's kind of the game of chess and checkers. Um, it should be a game where we rely heavily on the run game. I really hope to see Javonte Williams continue to get into form, be consistent. I want to see Julio be able to make some plays. And from all accounts, it seems like they're going to get Audric Estimate another opportunity to spell Javonte, and maybe he can hold on to the ball and get things going. I look for Bo Nix to be very efficient, be able to make plays with his legs, um, and just really wear out this team. The key to this game is to come out and put it on the Panthers early, force them to play from behind, you know, actually take some shots because they're going to come in with a mindset. They're going to come in with a game plan of really short, quick, simple passes, run the ball as much as you can. Um, not turn the ball over, not be overly aggressive against this team. That's kind of they're going to be hamstrung with that a little bit. So if you can put it on them early, it's going to be a major key. Also, this pass rush defensively, like I had touched in the last video that I had made, the Broncos, I mean the Panthers offensive line is actually very underrated. They're a very solid unit. They're top 10 in terms of PFF, but they're very good across the board. That's not really been a big reason why they've been bad offensively this year. And even though they do got Bryce Young, who's shown that he's hold the ball a lot, he's somebody that can make plays with his feet when the plays breaks down. At least more than Andy Dalton did. So you've got to be able to keep him in the pocket, make sure the pass rush gets to him. Um, that's going to be one of the key matchups. Um, Another key matchup is going to be these inside linebackers. So Cody Barton, Justin Sternad, and how they handle this rushing attack from the Carolina Panthers. It's not like it's an elite rushing attack, but You know it's going to be something that is very much emphasized, the short passing game, maybe to the tight ends across the middle. So the way in which they go ahead and play is going to be imperative to keeping them at bay and making sure that they can't really get anything going. A 1-6 team can come into an environment where nobody's giving them a chance to lose, and they can just play free. They can play free. They can take chances. They could, really just go out there and do whatever they can to try to get a to get a win to get some sort of semblance going. There could also be a refocus with this team with Bryce Young back as the quarterback. Maybe they start paying a little bit more attention to the details. So the Broncos have to be ready for that. It makes it a little bit more difficult to game plan against them because you don't really know what to expect. I have no idea what to expect from the Panthers at all, um, and so that could kind of work to their advantage too. Otherwise, this is one of those really strange games because there's not so many key matchups that you look at and say, "Oh, this is going to be important. This is not going to be important." Really, when you look at all factors from offense to defense to special teams to the conditions of the game to everything, this is a game that there is not a reason in hell the Broncos should lose. So I would just say the most important thing is we cannot have negative plays that affect us and give them a short field. Turnovers is going to be huge, and we can't allow for them to get any kind of free points, right? Whether it be like on special teams in a the kicking and punting game to be able to like maybe get a return or something. Those are the things that typically happen when you have really really large upsets, and there's just a lapse in focus. So I was really, kind of worried about this game earlier in the week. As the week went on, I kind of felt a little bit more confident because I feel like Sean Payton does have this team focus. I don't think that, based off just the history of him here and when he was in New Orleans, I don't think that he would have the team unfocused, fully for the game ahead. Um, I think they're going to come out prepared and they come out ready to go. And it's all going to be about if they can execute or not and jump out on this team early to come out here, hopefully with a victory. They owe it to these fans to play better at home. I think the Broncos have been very underwhelming. They've been a very good road team, but they've been somebody that hasn't played very well at home. And I really do believe genuinely that the home field advantage, like with the altitude and all this kind of stuff, is just gone. I don't think it really plays that much of a factor in it. I just think the Broncos need to find a way to be more focused, play from the momentum, and a key to that is a quick start, right? Because when you're at home and you start off terribly, like you did, let's say in the Chargers game, there's no more home field advantage at that point. You're just kind of playing at a neutral grounds, and sometimes you even have added pressure because you realize, man, the crowd's out of it. Let's try to get back into it. So I'd like to see them get off to a quicker start overall as a team. Hopefully, we can come out of this game healthy. Overall, feeling good. It's nice that that we are getting Pat Surtain back this week. We obviously got McGlinchey back. Look like we're gonna have a little bit more depth guys available as well. PJ Locke looks like he's doubtful, so he looks like he's not gonna play. And in a way, I'm really excited to see Devon Key because he's somebody that I remember seeing a lot of him in the preseason because Brandon Jones was out with that hamstring injury. And I was surprised that Devin Key was the guy that kinda stepped in, and then they consistently did that throughout the preseason. He ultimately made the team. So they were pretty high on him from the beginning. And he might have gotten a little bit overshadowed from, like, Keydron Smith, who was constantly making plays from the safety position that ultimately allowed for him to make the team. But I'm excited for a kid like I don't know if it's Devin or Devon Key to be able to make his Broncos debut as a starter. Excited to see what he can do in that role, what he can add. It's always good to get some players that you're not super familiar with to play. So I'd like to see how that works out with him and Brandon Jones on the back end. I would make an. I think that there's not going to be too much of a difference. You're not necessarily going to feel PJ Locke's presence not there too much, at least this week, just based off of how I think Carolina's going to play us. But if this is something that lingers into the following weeks, it could. PJ Locke's one of those guys that you kind of love and you hate, right? You see him making a lot of really good plays, and then you see him make a lot of boneheaded plays as well. I think he's gotten better in terms of limiting the boneheaded plays. But I'm curious to see about Devin Key because I don't really know too much about him other than he played for the Chiefs for a while, and then we signed him off their practice squad, and then he was on the practice squad last season, and this year he's actually making an opportunity. Seems like he's a good athlete, good solid dude, um, athletically. So that's something to kind of keep an eye out on as well. I think we'll get the, inactives or maybe, we're gonna get the inactives obviously before a game, but we might see if they're gonna elevate anybody from the practice squad to the game day roster. We should get it today at some point, and that could warrant another video just to see like, hey, take a look at on this. It might be a game where Donald Parham is given an opportunity to play, or A.T. Perry might be given an opportunity to play. I don't know why though. It's not like there's been injuries, but maybe they want to switch some things up and kind of see how that goes. So that would be really exciting if that's the case. We'll keep an eye out on it. Otherwise, I think the Broncos do get a win. I think that it is a little bit closer than everybody kind of wants for it to be early, maybe, or maybe the final score. It's not like a pure ass kicking type of a victory, but I do think the Broncos ultimately do win the game, and I think they win it 30-14. And that sounds like it's gonna be an ass kicking, but I think, like I said, it could be one of those games that's a little bit tighter, a little bit slow as we figure out what they're wanting to do, and then we can take off with it, at the end of the game. But my prediction for this game is Broncos 30, Panthers 14, and at the end of the day, I don't care if they win by 1 point or by 40 points. I just wanna get to 5-3 and see how we match up against, the league moving forward. And at the halfway point, a 5-3 record would be something that I think Broncos country overall would be thrilled with, regardless of how they got there. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate y'all tuning in. That's all I got for today. Got a little migraine cooking, so we'll deal with that. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. The Broncos, are they are they set up for a trap game? Do you guys think that this is has trap game opportunities on it, or do you feel like it's going to be an easy victory? Let me know what y'all think. Till then, guys, make sure you spend time with the people you love the most always. Mile high salute, everybody. Go Broncos. And until next time, peace.